Very good morning, everyone. In today's lecture, we will have a look at maximum likelihood decoding and a very popular decoding algorithm, namely Viterbi decoding algorithm, will be discussed. Now, we have a received sequence as you can see on your screen. There is a 3-bit message which was transmitted. It was encoded by 212 convolutional encoder, and you can see the received sequence in the diagram. It is 10, 01, 10, 11, and 00. So there are some assumptions about this whole process. We assume that the channel error probability is zero point 0.1. After the channel, this particular received sequence is produced. We will assume that it includes some errors. We have no idea about how many bits have been corrupted by noise. But what comes after the decoder? For example, what was the most likely transmitted code and what were the respective message bits need to be estimated. For that, we will use maximum likelihood decoding procedure. Now, in this trellis diagram, there are two paths. One path that diverges downwards from the parent node. If you see the node number A corresponds to 1, and another path which goes straight to the right hand side of the graph corresponds to a 0. So that same convention will be followed in all the nodes, and we will see what output is produced. Output has been written adjacent to every branch. So if from the node A we are going to another node, the output will be 0 0 corresponding to a 0, and corresponding to a 1 from node A we are going to node C, and the output is 1 1. The slanting line diverging downwards from the leftmost node A produces an output 1 1. Similar logic can be applied to interpret all the divergences and the corresponding outputs. Now we want to find the maximum likelihood of the received sequence when there was a transmitted sequence. What was the transmitted sequence when this is the received sequence indicated in this figure 1001, 1011, and 00? For that, we need to have a metric. We need to have a metric to calculate the distance or the difference between the received sequence and the actual candidate sequence. So we can constitute the set of candidate sequences in many ways. And how many possible ways we have to construct the candidate sequences, that we will see. First of all, if I talk about a particular path, there is a corresponding code sequence associated with it. You can see in the table at the bottom of this slide that there is a path and there is a code sequence. The third column corresponds to a path metric and the fourth column corresponds to Hamming distance. Now Hamming distance is also a path metric. It's a metric which compares a candidate sequence with a received sequence. And that candidate sequence which has the minimum Hamming distance is considered as the best choice for being declared as a transmitted sequence. We will assume that the Hamming distance corresponds to the maximum likelihood that the noise has corrupted not many of the bits of the original sequence. That assumption might be wrong, but in most likelihood, that is true. That's why Hamming distance is considered a metric. Now, Hamming distance is nothing but the difference in individual bits of the 2-bit snippet of the code sequence. So if I compare the paths 0 0 0 0 0, it means I'm talking about the first row of this table, path 0 0 0 0 0. It means I am talking about divergence from the leftmost node towards the right side of this graph. A path of 0, 0 in all entries means we are just going from left to right along a straight line. And we will note down the outputs which are indicated on the adjacent of each branch. So if we note down the output, we can see that we have a 0, 0, again a 0, 0, again a 0, 0. We have 5 2-bit snippets of 0 zeros. So that is the corresponding code sequence corresponding to the first candidate path. We would like to calculate the Hamming distance between this code sequence with the received sequence. So let's take each 2-bit snippet and compare it with the corresponding code sequence. So if I compare 1 0 with 0 0, how many bits are different at their corresponding positions? So we see here that 1 bit is different. 1 is different from 0, 0 and 0 are same at their corresponding positions. So we have a point of 1 which will be included in the total calculation of Hamming distance. So Hamming distance between this part of the code sequence between 1 0 and 0 0 is 1. Similarly, Hamming distance between 0 1 and 0 0 is also 1. Similarly, Hamming distance between 1 0 and 0 0 is 1. What is the Hamming distance between 1 1 and 0 0? Since there is a change in both the bits of the snippet, we have the Hamming distance equal to 2. And for the last 2-bit snippet of the received sequence, the candidate sequence also has the same bits. So the Hamming distance in this case is 0. So what if we add the total Hamming distance obtained for the received sequence and the candidate sequence corresponding to path 0 0 0 0 0? Now for the first 2-bit snippet we have 1 plus. For the second 2-bit snippet, we have Hamming distance 1, that makes it 2. For the third 2-bit snippet, we have Hamming distance 1, added makes it 3. For the fourth snippet, we have Hamming distance equal to 2, which when added makes the total Hamming distance equal to 5. That's why for this given path, the Hamming distance between the candidate sequence corresponding to this path and the received sequence is 5. Going by the logic, we will evaluate all such possible paths and calculate the Hamming distances between the code sequence and the received sequence and try to find out which candidate sequence gives the least numerical value of Hamming distance. We will say that that particular code sequence in maximum likelihood has been the transmitted sequence. So let's have a look again at how we are going to determine the code sequence corresponding to a given path. So if it is not clear what do we mean by path, let's take the example of the second path, and I'm reading it out 0 0 1 0 0. So I'm talking about the second path. It means starting from this node, first is 0, so we will go along straight line. Again we encounter a 0, we again go straight line to the right, and the third bit for the path is 1. It means we are going now to diverge downwards like this, and we will come here. Okay, the fourth path, so it has to be this way upwards, and the fifth one is 0, so it has to be this way upward. So what are the code sequences corresponding to this path? We are going to note them down: 0 0 0 0. Then since we have diverged downwards, then it was 1 1. Then since we have diverged upwards because it was a 0, it is 1 0. And again since we have gone upwards because it was a 0, we have 1 1. So we have the corresponding code sequence to this path 0 1 0 0 1 0 0 is equal to this entry in the second column of this table: 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0, and 1, 1. Let's calculate the Hamming distance corresponding to this path. We will compare each 2-bit snippet with the corresponding snippet in the received sequence. So 1, 0 will be compared with 0, 0. There is a difference of 1 bit. Hamming distance is 1. Again, the Hamming distance between 0, 1 and 0, 0 is 1. That makes it 2. Again, the distance between 1, 0 and 1, 1 is 1. That makes it 3. Again, the distance between 1, 1 and 1, 0 is again 1. That makes it 4. However, for the last 2-bit snippet of the received sequence, the Hamming distance between 0, 0 and 1, 1 is 2. So total Hamming distance is 4 plus 2 is equal to 6. This Hamming distance is more than Hamming distance obtained for the first candidate path. So obviously, this is not a minimum path. This is not the shortest path because Hamming distance is larger than a particular value. So let's check out for other paths also, other candidate paths also, and we will zero in on that path for which the generated code sequence is closest in terms of Hamming distance to the received sequence. Okay, that was Hamming distance maximum likelihood criteria. Now there is another entry here in terms of what is written here as path metric. Hamming distance is also a path metric. However, what we can do here, that according to our convenience and our requirements, we can have several formulae or functions for path metric, and all these functions are based on Hamming distance. What we do, we apply some weight to the correctness and falseness of the bits when they are compared. It means if the received sequence, when compared with the candidate sequence, there is a correct comparison, we will award it a point. And if there is a wrong comparison, we will award it another point. These points may differ because the weights may differ. So that will be clear with this example of how to calculate path metric according to some weighting scheme. So we are now calculating path metric according to some weighting scheme for the third code sequence. Have a look at this entry in the third row of this table. Then there is a third code sequence corresponding to path 0, 1, 0, 0, 0. Okay, let's try and find out the code sequence for this particular path: 0, 1, 0, 0, 0. So for 0, we have the first output as 0, 0. For 1, we have to go downwards slightly here, and the output is 1, 1. Again, for 0, we have output 1, 0. Again, for 0, we have output 1, 1, and the last output corresponding to 0 is 0, 0. So for this, we are going to calculate the path metric. So we will take two functions here, one for correctness, and this includes those values which give you the correct matching in terms of Hamming distance. So let's do it with the received sequence. What is the Hamming distance between this 0, 0 and 1, 0? So Hamming distance here is 1. What is the Hamming distance between 0, 1 and 1, 1? So Hamming distance here is, we will first calculate the correct function using the comparison where the bits are similar between the generated code sequence and the received sequence. Okay, for this third path, we will first find out how many bits are similar in the code sequence and the received sequence. So in 0, 0 and 1, 0 comparison, one bit is similar. So we have score of 1 here. For the second entry, we will compare 0, 1 with 1, 1. One bit is similar. For the third, we will compare 1, 0 with 1, 0. Both these bits are similar. Similarly, for other 2-bit snippets of the received sequence and code sequence, they are similar. So the score for correct function is 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 1 plus 1 equal to 8. Okay, now we will calculate the false function. False function is nothing but Hamming distance. So the Hamming distance for first three are 1 plus 1 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0 equal to 2 using the conventional Hamming distance method. So false function is equal to Hamming distance here. Now we can give a particular weight to the correct function and the false function. Okay, so let's give more weight to the false function because that affects the likelihood of correctness of our decision. So we will give it a value of 2.30. That's the weight. And we will give a weight of 0.11 in negative values, of course, for the correct function. Whatever numerical value we get, we will sum them together, and the total path metric is the summed value. When the summed value, since it is negative, when it is the highest, we will consider that particular path to be the best candidate path which is closest to the received sequence. That's another method of calculating the maximum likelihood decision. Both are based on similarity or dissimilarity of bits. When we are using dissimilarity, we are talking about Hamming distance. When we are using both similarity and dissimilarity according to some weighting scheme, then we call it a path metric. Hamming distance is also a path metric, and there can be many path metric functions which are dependent upon how we generate our weights for weighting the correct decisions and false decisions. It means for weighting the matching bits and for weighting the non-matching bits. Now we will come to Viterbi algorithm.